Recognizing the member for Peace River North.
Yeah, thanks, Honourable Speaker. British Columbia used to be the envy of this country, our picturesque landscape, strong economy, and prosperous communities. People from all over Canada and the world were drawn to our province. Now the conversation has shifted. And instead of others dreaming of moving here, I increasingly hear and sadly hear from British Columbians who no longer see a future for themselves in this province that they call home. The promise of working hard and being able to buy a home, to raise a family, and live a good quality of life no longer feels true here in British Columbia. Budget 2024 highlights this issue. For the fifth quarter in a row, more people have left British Columbia than any other province, notably Alberta. Never in my life did I think people would be fleeing from British Columbia at an alarming rate. Yet everywhere you look, from affordability to healthcare, to the toxic drug crisis, to public safety, things have gotten worse. Our healthcare system is collapsing. 1 in 5 British Columbians do not have a family doctor, and those without a family doctor face the longest clinic wait times in the country. 1 million British Columbians are waitlisted to see specialists, and hundreds of thousands of people are unable to get timely medical imaging, and emergency rooms are chronically understaffed and repeatedly closed throughout British Columbia, including in the Peace Country. The concerns around emergency rooms are especially pronounced in rural areas, as residents can be forced to travel up to 5 hours to receive emergency care. In fact, this week, there's a scheduled closure in Fort Nelson. It is so common, sadly, that people feel they need to drive to Grand Prairie, Alberta, because even with a 2-hour drive from Fort St. John, the emergency wait care is shorter than our understaffed ERs here in BC. This is a stark reflection of the state of our healthcare system. British Columbians are feeling the economic concerns of our province. Major projects like LNG Canada, the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion, and Site C are all wrapping up with no new major investments on the horizon. Investment in British Columbia is disappearing, Madam Speaker, and this is due to higher taxes, increased red tape, expanding government bureaucracy. We've seen 140-some-odd thousand new public sector people hired. Madam Speaker, this has stifled the private sector job growth, which has actually been stagnant since 2019, and a trend that is right in the budget that shows that it is expected to continue. People in the Peace have certainly noticed the investment industry and jobs are moving to neighboring jurisdictions. Even British Columbians with well-paying jobs are finding it no longer enough to keep up with the skyrocketing costs of living here. Essential costs such as gas, groceries, and housing continue to climb, while real income for British Columbians shrink. It has become impossible to talk to family and friends in any corner of this province without the conversation shifting to just how unaffordable it has become. I consistently hear from people in my community, as well as around the province, working 2 or 3 jobs, and who feel no matter how hard they try, they just can't get ahead. This is because BC is the most expensive province to live in the entire country. What British Columbians can't accept is the many, many unnecessary costs the government is choosing to put on people in an affordability crisis. People are feeling the pain at the pumps as we have the highest gas prices in North America. The reality, Madam Speaker, is that many British Columbians need to drive to work, to school, to medical appointments. They need to take their kids to sporting events and practices, checking in on their grandparents, driving to the store to get groceries. In my riding, as well as for many others across the north and the interior, people drive for hours to work. It is a necessity. Many people require a reliable mode of transportation for their jobs as drastic weather changes that occur with little notice, and a personal vehicle is the only reliable and safe way to get around. The same goes for home heating costs. Canada is a cold country. Winters get cold in British Columbia, with temperatures in my riding going as cold as -50 in the winter. British Columbians have no choice but to heat their homes with natural gas or propane. Yet the carbon tax on home heating is driving the costs through the roof. This unnecessary tax punishes families, punishes small businesses, and punishes all British Columbians. Why are British Columbians continually being punished for unnecessary costs? And Madam Speaker, the pain is only scheduled to get worse. As an April Fool's joke, well, it's not a joke, the carbon tax will be increasing 14 cents a litre, a 164% increase since 2017, and it will more than double again over the next few years. Last fall, the federal government unfairly gave a tax break on home heating to Atlantic Canada. When premiers of all political stripes across the country fought back to demand equality on heating costs, BC stayed silent. While many British Columbians had to choose between heating their home or buying groceries, British Columbians have noticed the disparities. When people have the option to move to places like Alberta or Saskatchewan, where they can find good-paying jobs, where they can find affordable homes and lower costs of living, it is no wonder that many are considering this as an option, especially in this day and age where it's so easy to work from home. People are considering leaving this beautiful province. Why would you stay in a province that is choosing to punish them, choosing to make life unaffordable, when neighboring provinces are fighting for their citizens? Thank you, Madam Speaker.